Rise and shine, Kona town. Chee. Rise and shine, what's going down? It's Breakfast with Bob. Chee. Woo.
And Poncho Man, everybody. Welcome back to day one, Breakfast with Bob, our Kona World Championship edition from beautiful Huggos on the Rocks. My name is Bob Babbitt, brought to you by HOKA Fly Human Fly, Master Spas, Precision Fuel and Hydration, crush your race nutrition, Deboer, Outrigger, Kona Resort and Spa, stay longer, save more, and of course our Challenge Athletes Foundation. Our next guest, seriously one of the best coaches in the business, Mr. Dan Lorang joins us. Round of applause for Mr. Lorang.
Thank you. Thank you, Bob, for having me.
Such a pleasure. So, first of all, your real profession is you're a cycling coach, right? Who are you a coach for? The cycling team?
Basically, so I'm in the cycling team now for 9 years, and I evaluate from being a coach, so coaching around 7 to 8 athletes there, more in a management position.
Right.
So the past years I have been more in the head of performance role, where I'm not coaching so many athletes anymore. So it's more like coaching the coaches, working with them together, and try to build the performance structure.
So you meet Jan Frodeno. Actually, you need to go back further. Annie Haug. You guys went to school together.
At university, exactly. So 20 years ago.
20 years ago.
Yep. We met at university, and I think the history is a little bit known. She wanted to do triathlon. I wanted to start with coaching, and we said, okay, here we go.
And she went to how many Olympic Games?
She went basically London. She went to Rio,
yes.
So two times at the Olympic Games, and after that, then she changed to long distance triathlon.
And so she's learning about long distance. You're learning about long distance at the same time. How difficult was it to go from that Olympic distance and that Olympic format with drafting to this?
Yeah, basically the first athlete where we made that switch was with Jan, because he changed already in
2012,
2013. Yes. He had the first ideas. We did 2013, still a season where he mixed up 70.3 and some
ITU
racing, exactly. And then we made that transition. And I was a little bit lucky, because if you look at the physiology from both athletes, Annie and Jan, there are some similarities. So that's why we did it with Jan. It was a three-year period until he won the first time here. And then we basically had already some kind of plan for Annie ready. For sure, you cannot adapt it one-to-one, but I got the experience for long-distance triathlon with Jan.
And Jan, in 2012, when you started working together, the goal was 3-year plan to win Kona. Because he wasn't saying, I want to be on the podium. It was, I'm there to win.
Yeah, I still remember the situation. And I also like to talk about it, because I was sitting in my office at the German Federation. He came in my office and said, okay, Dan, I'm looking for a new coach. And I consider that you could be the one. And I said, yeah, it would be a privilege for me. Yes, I want to do that. And he said, I want to go to Kona. And I said, yes, okay, but I want to get world champion. And I said then, I don't know why, but I said, okay, in 3 years. And he looked at me and said, okay, that's the plan. And then from that day on, we always had that 3 years in mind, and luckily it worked out. So happy to have that.
I was just interviewing Jan the other day in San Diego, and he said that when he first came to Kona, 2014, he said, Dan and I decided that we're going to go over together. He'd never coached somebody for that race. I'd never raced that race. And so we learned together. What did you guys learn when you got third in 2014? And everything, you got the flat tire. I think he got a drafting call. He came running in at the end of after T2 and had the wrong outfit on, had to run back in. What did you guys learn from that helped him win the next year?
Yeah, basically I think you hear a lot about the conditions in Kona. So it's hot, it's humid, it's the hardest race of the year and so on, but you just hear the stories. If you have never been here, it's hard to really experience it. And yeah, I made my research, I talked with athletes, I talked with some coaches, but in the end, the only thing what really moved us forward was to be there.
Yes.
And to get the experience. And also to came here having this 3-year plan in mind to say, okay, first year, probably we have to see how things are going. We learn, for sure, Jan will always win. He wants always to win, but still we know, okay, we will get a lot of experience out of this, and then try to avoid the mistakes what we did probably in the first time here. And then luckily the win was already there, 2015. And and it was such a great experience to go through that process together. And also chapeau to Jan, because I think there were every coach in the world who would raise their hand to say, yes, I also want to coach Jan Frodeno. But he came to a young coach with not so much experience and say, okay, let's make the way together. And yeah, I'm still thankful for that one.
So he wins in 15, wins again in 16. And then in 2017, Patrick Lange wins. And then in 18, Jan's having a super year. He wins 70.3 World Championships in South Africa, home crowd for him. And he runs 106 off the bike. Alistair runs 107. Javier Gomez runs 108. We're talking three of the greatest in the history of the sport. He has this amazing high. He wins a race, and then he's got a stress fracture in his hip and can't race here in 2018. That had to be so tough for both of you.
Yeah, I can also remember that moment when he called me. It was in the middle of the night. I was driving to the airport. I think it was 4:30 in the morning. I got the call from him, and he said, okay, I have the diagnosis. It's a stress fracture. So we knew, okay, Kona is done. And it was such a big goal. And also there, again, chapeau to him. There was never complaints about, okay, what are the mistakes that we did? Was it too much training? And what was it? It was more like, okay, let's look forward. Let's learn from that and come back stronger the year after. And I think that is something what he did pretty well.
Well, I remember after 2018, when Patrick won again, he signed a contract with Felix, his agent, saying, we will come back and we will win in 2019. I'm sure you were part of that discussion as well. Then he came back and he won in 2019, breaking the course record and just having a phenomenal day.
Yeah, we have all been here 2018, so
yes.
all together, and we have been in his house, and we all signed that contract. So himself, Felix, and myself, and we say we want to win 2019. And yeah, basically then when he won, Felix took it out of the box and said, yeah, that's it now. So also this is a nice history. It's true.
That is so
and
cool.
These are the moments that you never forget.
Well, moments you never forget. 2019, Jan wins and Annie wins. You got both top of the podium for the two athletes that you coach.
Yeah, that was, I never found the real words for this. I even have to say that I realized this probably some years later. So
yes.
What this really means. And it was a fantastic year. In the cycling team there, I'm still coaching a lot of athletes. They were really successful. Then we won here with men and women. It's such an amazing year. But it also costs something because you always ask you the question, and what comes next? I think you did this discussion also with athletes again. And for a coach, it's a little bit the same.
Yes.
So what is the next one? And so because you dream so much about that situation, I had it in, I visualized it to have both winning the race, and now it was there suddenly, and I said, oh, and now?
What's next?
Yeah, what's next? And it took a while to come back and to refocus on it and to continue the journey.
So Lucy Charles-Barclay reaches out 2021 because she's thinking about trying to make the Olympic team for Paris, right? And it's to me, it's very similar because Taylor was training. Taylor Knibb was training to make the Paris Olympic team in triathlon and in cycling. So when Lucy first came to you, you're already coaching Annie. Was there, if I'm an athlete and my coach wants to coach somebody who's competing against me, that can be pretty hard. When you went to Annie with that, with Lucy wanting her to coach her, what was Annie's response?
I think there Annie is some kind of unique because she was just happy for myself to have the privilege to work with another top class athlete like Lucy, and also at that time, yeah, she showed great potential. She never won the race, but she showed second really
yes.
strong performances in all the races what she did. And then Annie said to me, hey, why not? It's a chance for you. I trust you 100% that you will still coach me as if there will no Lucy, so you put still the same energy. And that was also for me the first thing to check with her. So basically we had the conversation with Reese, with Lucy, and then I went to Annie and said, what do you think about it? Please tell me your honest opinion. And she was really straight away. She said, hey, if this is something what you would like to do, I'm happy for you. Just go for it. And
wow.
Also here, I have deep respect for Annie at that point that she never had a problem with it, never mentioned it in her whole career. So
yeah, and what a pro. She had such a great career. And it's funny because you think about that 2012 Olympics, Daniela Ryf was in that Olympics, Annie Haug was in that Olympics. There's so many athletes who, I mean, Daniela just retired, Annie retired, but that we're talking, 13, 14 years after their Olympics, they were still at the highest level in the sport. That longevity to me is a mark of a great coach and athlete and the partnership. Because a lot of coaches can work an athlete to the point where they have to quit. It's hard to to balance and keep an athlete at the highest level for a decade?
Yeah, but I think the hardest part is also, so you go through ups and downs
Yes.
during a long period of time, and we are living in a world where we tend to do things really fast. So we can look at different TV programs, we can change in Instagram, we swap through all the posts, so everything is really, really fast. And I also got a little bit the feeling that sometimes athletes are swapping coaches quite fast.
Yes.
Because they are looking for new opportunities, better coaching, better results.
Quick fix.
Quick fix, exactly, that's the right term. And that's never something what I really liked. Even in our times now, when an athlete approach me and say, hey, Dan, would you like to be my coach? The first thing what I'm in general ask is them, have you already talked to your coach about what you are complaining of, about where you see potential, what you want to do different? Because probably your coach had never had a chance to adapt that, to change that.
Right.
And probably he knows how to do it, you just have to talk about it. And I think that's something what is really a privilege, to have some years that you're working together. Okay, there can always be a time where a relationship breaks because of you have no progress anymore, or some kind of human relation that breaks down. That can happen. But I think I would always encourage athletes to keep on relationships with their coaches if they still have the feeling that the coach can bring them forward.
Yeah, exactly. So Taylor Knibb, how did you connect with her? And when we interviewed her the other day, she just was raving about the workouts that you provide to her. She feels like every time she gets a workout, and as an athlete, you assume that a lot of the workouts sort of look a lot alike. She's like, no, I get these workouts from Dan. It's like Christmas morning. It's something I didn't expect to do, and I didn't know if I could do it. And she's excited every time she gets a workout. When you connected with her, could you just see that the raw energy that she brings to the table is pretty special?
Yes, so there's also a nice story. When she raced 2 years ago in Kona, so there we haven't had any connection. But I was not here. I was watching the race in TV, and my wife was watching with me, and she saw that women always waving to the camera and laughing and having fun at doing what she was doing. And my wife said, that would be an athlete to coach. She seems to be really happy with what she's going. I think that would be a nice match. And I said, I don't know, but she has a coach and she's probably happy. And then there was this connection with Lawrence van Lingen, who is basically take care about her physiotherapy, take care about the running technique. And he was also working with Jan. And he was the guy who basically made the link after Kona. There was a loose talk before Kona, but I always said, okay, first the race, because I had Lucy in the race, I had Annie in the race. I didn't want to get any talks around that. And then let's speak after the race. And then we had a nice call and some great talks. And then we said, let's make a test period from, it was, I think, middle of November until end of December, just to see if there can be a match.
Right.
And during that time, I also approached Lucy.
Yes.
And Annie. And with Annie, it was the same again. And he said, okay, she's happy that I do that. She has no doubts. With Lucy, I think it was, she also said, for sure, Dan, you can do that. I cannot say, okay, you should not do it. But there it was, because the relation with Annie was already there for a long time. With Lucy, it's long, but not so long.
Yeah.
That's why I really have the feeling, okay, I need to show that they can trust, that they make no difference, that I take no advantage of coaching both athletes or the three athletes. And but there was never a no. It was just a discussion and how I would do this. And basically Lucy also said, okay, let's do that. She trusts the same Reese. And also we never talk about the others. So it's not that we talk about Taylor when I'm with Lucy or the other way around. It's separate
entities, yes.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And Taylor coming in, when I look at Taylor, she, in terms of from T100 to 70.3 to full, she's done 20 races since 2021 or so. And she's won 13 of them and been on the podium 19 times. The only time she wasn't on the podium was here 2 years ago, where she got fourth, right? And she's done 2 marathons. She ran 3:04 and 3:05 at Texas and Ironman Worlds 2 years ago. So that, I mean, it's easy to look and say, okay, if Taylor runs 250, she can win this race. What is that something that you guys have worked? Because we've seen the success that Lucy's had. Her running has gotten so much better. More importantly, she's healthy, which is something that she was having issues with. Is that something you're working with both athletes on?
So I always follow the same strategy. So my goal as a coach and with the teams around the athletes always to bring the athletes to the start line in the best possible condition.
Right.
So that they are able to deliver in the 3 disciplines, and then that they are that they can react on different race situations. That you don't have to say always, I'm a strong swimmer and biker. I have to take care that I have enough a big gap for the run. So we try really to develop the 3 disciplines. For sure, there are strengths and some weak points, but we never talked about, okay, you have to run this, you have to push this kind of power. It's more about how can we do the best development in the time period that we have until the next race or until the big goal. And then at race day, you have to see what is the outcome.
Right.
Because it's hard to predict, will you now make 2% steps, 1% step, 5% step, how much faster can you run in the next 6 weeks? Because what I saw in coaching is it's not like a progression, it's more like in steps. So suddenly it makes click, especially on the run, and then there is a stronger run performance. We saw it with Lucy this year, where we have really that slowly build up after all the injuries and all the changes we did, step by step build up, and she runs now fantastically, and hopefully everybody comes healthy to the start line. But that is basically the approach. So it's not about, okay, you have to run faster now because there's an opponent who runs faster. It's more like, we want to get the best out of yourself.
So when I look at Lucy and the fact that she has won 70.3 Worlds, Ironman World Championship, and then when I look at Annie, one of the more impressive races, I thought what she did at Challenge Roth a couple years ago when she went 8:02, the fastest ever for that distance. And the year before Annie did that, Daniela Rief had that amazing race, and people were giving splits to Annie, and she goes, quit giving me splits on Daniela. Just let me know where second place is, because that's done. Then she comes back, and Daniela went 8:08, I think, and then here comes Annie the following year going 8:02. So Daniela's course record lasted for basically 1 year. Did you have a feeling? 'Cause I think Annie might have been 42 at that point, 41, 42 years old. Yeah. At that age, to have that type of race, did it surprise you?
For sure, it surprises me, because in training you see, is an athlete in shape, yes or no, but you never train an Ironman in training, or at least I don't let my athletes do an Ironman in training, so that's why you never know what will be the outcome. Also, the condition in the race, so the opponents, the pressure what you have, this is doing something with you. And these kind of, I call them race horses, they always can push more when they are in a race. So you never see that in training. You can just see, you can compare some session and see, okay, we are at least at the same point as last year, or we are a little bit better. And even that year when Annie broke the record, it was not a perfect preparation. It was also some ups and downs until the race. And she did it because also she had that dream. She wanted at her home race, so it's her home race, to break that record, and she did it, and it was fantastic. But it was not that I said, okay, that is our goal. I'm basically not a fan of this going for records. I'm more a fan of, okay, we want to get the best result. Men against men, women against women. Sometimes it's more tactical, sometimes it's a more speed race. It's not about, for me, it's not about the time. It's more about racing. And about strategy, about dynamics, and be able to react on the different dynamics.
So on Saturday, if they come out of the energy lab and it's Lucy shoulder to shoulder with Taylor, nothing you can do about it at that point. Are you at that point? Are you going, oh my God, this is so great that my two athletes are having this amazing race? How do you stay neutral in that type of situation?
So even when you talk about it, I get already goosebumps. So if that would be the case, I'm neutral. For me, it really doesn't matter. For me, it's important that the best athletes win the race or get the best position, and so we prepare them until the start line, and then from outside we provide them with information. For sure, the different team members, for sure, Reese will then say, okay, so fire up Lucy. For sure, the members of Taylor's team, her dad, whoever is there, will go for them. But I will never do that. If they come there, I will just
good job.
Yeah, good job. Try to motivate both of them. And when there's a gap, I will only give them the gap and motivate both of them in the same way. Otherwise, I would not do a good job. But for me, it's they are doing the race. We brought them to the start line, and now it's about them to fight, to race, to make the best out of it.
I love it. Dan, such a treat to get to chat with you. I learned a lot. Thank you so much. Thanks for what you bring to the sport of triathlon. You've really number of champions that you've worked with now is pretty amazing.
thank you very much for the invitation. Then please stay quite some more years here with us, because it's really nice to have you in that sport and always having this kind of, how to say, not routines, this kind of culture in the sport.
Yes.
That's why I'm also happy that we are all back again next year.
Men and women back together.
Exactly, yeah.
Love it. Dan Lorang, everybody. Poncho Man.
Thank you.
Good morning, Kona town. Aloha, everybody, what's going down? It's Breakfast with Bob. Cheap. Woo.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, buddy.